Next up on the live stream, we have Arnulfo Ventura. He is the CEO of Beanfields and a winner of Rising Star Award, which he has. Oh, he has too, which he's going to share with us. Hello. Congratulations!
Thank you.
Oh, look at these beautiful shiny awards. This is nice.
Sorry.
Look at this. Yeah, Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
So you've had a big year. So kind of since it's the end of the year, looking back, what has been the biggest thing that's happened to you guys this year? Kind of walk us through the year.
That's a mouthful. The year's been awesome. So we've had an amazing kind of trajectory in the past, call it 11 months of the year. So actually the company's put together 20 consecutive months of better year-over-year performance. Q3 came in as our largest selling quarter in company history. September, our largest selling month. 9 of our highest months on D2C came this year. So we rolled out 13 new SKUs, 5 new products. One of them was worthy for best new product. So it's been great to see the Beanfields brand respond to all the efforts from the team.
So you mentioned that you launched a lot of new products this year. How did you kind of decide to do so many and to take on so much? And how do you kind of handle all that? Yeah,
so the situation when I came on a little over 20 months ago was a little bit of the brand needed some new excitement. And so I think of like REI, I think of like relevance, excitement, and innovation. And so not to do innovation just for innovation's sake, but we wanted to look at what we needed, what was out there in the market, and what we thought we could do in the Beanfields fashion. And so we came up with 5 new flavors that were very bold, and from that we went forward.
Yeah, so going off of those flavors, how did you pick those out and kind of, because I know that they're not like the typical tortilla chip flavor, so how did you kind of figure that out and what you wanted to do with those?
That's almost the reason why.
Yeah, you wanted to try something new?
Yeah, so if you think about like a salt and vinegar, have we seen that on a triangular chip? And I try to say our addressable market is anybody that just wants a good tasting chip. So just kind of strip away what we're used to seeing on whether it be a triangular chip, a round potato chip, or whatever it might be. And at the same time, kind of playing to our strengths. To do vegan dairy is exceptionally hard, and I think we do it better than many. And when we saw like cheddar sour cream as an opportunity to give consumers something that was familiar, but yet different and differentiated, we jumped on that.
So what was the development process like for all those flavors? How did you test those out? How did you figure out what worked?
Yeah, so I think we do everything from our internal kind of like panel testing at the office and understand there, and then we're scrappy. We'll go to WeWorks and we'll survey consumers. We'll have them fill out surveys, and we try to understand what we're doing. At the same time, we kind of have to rise up and look at the macro trends and to some extent have some confidence about what we're going to do. Actually, the product that we're talking about here, cheddar sour cream, it's one of those that almost didn't leave the boardroom because it wasn't totally clear whether we should do it or whether it was kind of ready for prime time, so to speak. But then we had all the full support and confidence of the board, and we got the execution exactly to where we wanted it to be come time for launch, and we're riding that wave now.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how do you kind of know when to go with your gut and when to kind of base it on trends and research and what consumers want when you're making a decision like a new flavor launch? Yeah,
that's tough. I think if I had to think about whether to go with my gut or not, I think I'm going to try to err on the side of being conservative and not. Because I think I've read different leaders tend to follow their gut, and oftentimes it doesn't work out. And so while I have a lot of confidence in what we're doing, at the same time I try to listen. And listen to the folks that know our brand best, and a lot of that starts with the internal team. I can't play that up enough. The people in our company that are building it, they know our brand and what we're trying to do, and if we're not in a line there on what we think a positive product should be, then we probably shouldn't pursue that at all. So as long as we start with like a strong nucleus at the core with our family, and we feel like we should get behind this product, and then we kind of go from there.
So how have the launches been paying off so far? What have you heard from consumers?
It's exciting. We have folks like Darren Ravel at Expo West will say our salt and vinegar is the most saltiest, vinegariest chip that he's tasted, and we love hearing things like that. I even love the comments where it's like, I didn't even know Beanfields was vegan. And so when you think about what we're doing on the cheddar front and dairy, I think of like zero compromise. And so I don't want people to say, oh, that's a good tasting chip for a vegan chip or whatever. So we're seeing tons of excitement around those flavors. Jalapeno lime, there's so many other products that have jalapeno or lime or maybe even some jalapeno limes, but ours continues to be differentiated in the way that we handle the zest, et cetera. And Spicy queso is probably my favorite of the new products that I think kind of got underrepresented in the last sell season, but Food Network recognized it as their most favorite flavor, and then I think before that, Health Magazine, and so I think that's the one that's going to have a good season this next year.
Nice. So, do you think that consumers, since like the shelves are just getting more and more crowded, do you think consumers are kind of looking for the bolder flavors, the ones that are kind of experiential or stand out more? Have you seen that?
Yeah, so it's about taste. It's absolutely about taste, and especially in the salty snack segment, it's a spice like Reign Supreme and bold flavors. People want things that are exciting, and we're trying to deliver on that.
So, looking ahead to next year, I know you've had a very busy 2019, but looking ahead to next year,
Yeah.
what do you guys have on the slate? Any launches, innovation? I know you might have some fatigue from all your launches, but do you have anything in the pipeline for next year?
Yes, we've been definitely tinkering away in the lab, and we have some exciting new products that you'll hear from us very soon on those. I think they'll continue to be differentiated and at the same time be completely on brand and continue to represent what Beanfields is all about and demonstrate its potential as a master brand, so to speak.
So with new launches, what is kind of like the through line that you always want to make sure that the theme or whatever that you guys have in all your products?
We definitely want to make sure that bean continues to remain the hero ingredient in everything that we do. And so that I think that's always going to be there. And being clean, being top 8 allergen free, all of our SKUs will continue to be vegan. And so those are kind of like some of the beginning kind of core tenets and when we think about approaching kind of guardrails, so to speak, around innovation, et cetera.
And whenever you do a new launch, what is your marketing strategy for a new rollout? Is it social media, or how do you kind of let people know what's going on?
Yeah, so we're pretty scrappy, and at the end of the day, we do really lean heavy on social media and digital. So we think about all things kind of digital. Those to me kind of coincide, and so we'll look at places like e-commerce where we know consumers are trialing more brands there on that platform than brick and mortar, and we'll make some smart bets in some areas there so that we can kind of get into consumers' carts on key platforms, and we'll continue to build it that way.
And do you feel like that's a good channel for you to kind of learn what consumers want or get feedback through that?
Definitely. We do a lot of experimenting on that channel of trade. I don't even want to call it a channel. It's a marketplace, e-commerce in general. But it's very forgiving and allowing us to make moves and pivots and experiment with different packs and assortments and sizes, et cetera. And so from that, we take those learnings and then we kind of scale from there.
So we've only had half a day at NOSH so far, but what is your favorite lesson you've taken away, or one of your favorite Q&As?
Oh my gosh. They've all been pretty darn memorable. Just the way that we've rolled through it, listening to Keith on Right Rice, and I love what they're doing, and that's completely disruptive on that space, to hearing the Mondelez folks talk about what they're doing on the snack futures front. Then singing to like my past experience and listening to, I think it's Bentley from Good Eggs and what he's doing on the digital and e-com front in the San Francisco Bay Area. All super relevant for our space and where we're at right now. So I've been just taking it in and really enjoying it.
What is one of your favorite lessons you've taken away from an entrepreneur, or something that you learned recently?
At the end, prior to the break, it was the Brazzy Bites founder presenting, and that kind of like that glimmer in her eye, that kind of unsquashable joy, that energy. I want to make sure that that's ever present in me as I continue to kind of like plow forward with our venture. I found that to be really inspiring, and her story, and seeing their trajectory and empathizing with all of the challenges and then seeing them grow was great to see.
What do you think is one of the biggest challenges that you guys have faced or that you've overcome with your brand?
Biggest challenges? Well, I would say that when I came on, it was tough. It was a brand that kind of had lost the eye, and it no longer was top of mind with a number of consumers. It wasn't the new shiny thing, but yet it was very a fantastic product, differentiated, and just needed to have a little more of excitement around it. And so prior to the brand and everything else, I really started with the people. And so I think the biggest challenge for me was to understand, did we have the right people on the bus? Were they in the right seats, or were they in a seat that suited them, but could they be in another seat that would allow them to develop further than where they're at now? and getting that mix right, because that was the foundation for everything that we're doing now. And so I continue to kind of plow away on that front, but if anything, that's the most rewarding work that I think, and the biggest challenge that we took on.
Well, I think with all your new launches, you've definitely garnered a lot of excitement since then. So, as we can see with your 2 awards, so congratulations on both of these.
Thank you.
Find a nice place for them. And thank you so much for joining me on the live stream. I really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of NOSH. We have a lot of exciting stuff coming up.
Hey, thanks for watching. Hit subscribe and ding that bell.